Good evening, everybody. Today we're going to deal with adding whole numbers. This is pretty simple because we're bringing together two things to do this type of math. We're bringing together our understanding of place value, and we're also bringing together our understanding of estimating. What we're going to do is we're going to round our numbers that we're adding together first, and then we're going to add the rounded numbers together. After that, we're going to actually add together the actual numbers that we had in the first place. So here we go. When we do that, by the way, we're going to add using our place values when we're dealing with the actual adding of the numbers. So here we go. Let's take the number 68,000. Make sure I'm using the right color pen. 68,000 921, and we were adding that to 33,429. Again, we're taking the numbers 68,921 and we're adding that to 33,429. In order to use those numbers appropriately, I'm going to use my blue pen so that you can see them really closely. I'm going to take both numbers and I'm going to use them by setting them down in my place value chart, just so that I can get an understanding of what those numbers really look like as far as the value of each digit. So I'll take my 6 and I'll place it in my 10,000s place, my 8, I'll place it in my thousands place, my 9 in my hundreds, my 2 in my tens, and my 1 in my ones. Then I'll take my next number, which is 33,429, and I will place each digit in their appropriate place, just like I did the top number. Now, when I'm done with that, before I add them together, I'm going to round these numbers so that I can find out the estimated amount. Now guys, when I round it, I'm rounding it to its greatest place value. So I look at my number in my 10,000s place, that's my greatest digit, and then I'm going to look at the number next to it. The number next to it, if it is 5 or more, that lets me know that my number in my largest place, which happens to be my 10,000s place, will go up 1. If this number is 0 or between 0 and 4, then this number stays the same. In this particular case, my number right here is greater than 5. And so that lets me know that my number right here will have to go up to 7. So I'm going to take my 6, turn it into a 7, and then I'm going to add a 0 for each of the digits that are after my greatest number that I just turned from a 6 to a 7. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, and I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 digits, or 4 zeros thereafter. Notice I did not forget my comma, folks. We talked about that today in class. Now, I'm going to take my number here, and I'm going to look at my number right next to it, and that will let me know whether or not this number here stays the same or goes up by 1. Because this is between 0 and 4, of course this will stay the same. You've got it. And so I'll bring my 3 over here, and again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros that I will drop right next to it. And again, I did not forget my comma. After I do that, then I'm going to simply add them together. I like to do it the easy way. So I'll just drop my 4 zeros again, because I don't really have to think about that part of the math. But now I have 3 plus 7. 3 plus 7 is 10, correct? Yes. So I'm just going to add that 10 right down there. And now guess what, folks? I have 100,000. But I have to make sure that I'm getting my actual number as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start adding my digits together. just like you've done in the past, except now we're able to see the place value of numbers and how values may switch. For example, I have 9 plus 1, that is 10. I'm going to drop my 0 because that's what's left in the ones place. But I'm going to bring my 1 over here. Why? Because now that 10 is in the tens place. The 1 of 10 is in the tens place. I'm going to now add 2 plus 2 is 4, and add 1 more because I don't want to forget that number, and that leaves me with 5. I don't have to bring anything over in this case, so I'm going to go ahead and start looking at my digits that are already there. So I have 4 and 9, and when I add those together, that's correct, I have 13. I drop my 3, but what do I do with my 1? You've got it. I bring it over to my thousands place. Guess what, folks? This looks very familiar because I'm sure you've done it in the past. But let me stop and tell you one thing. The value of this 1 is not just 1, but it is actually 1,000. Now let's add the 1,000 to the 8,000, that's 9,000, plus 3 more thousand, that's 12,000. So therefore, I'm going to take my 2, because I'm only in my thousands place, of my 12,000, and I will drop it down here. However, my 10,000 that's left from my 2,000 goes in the 10,000s place. You got it. So I'm not just saying 1, but I'm actually saying 10,000 plus 60,000 plus 30,000. 1 plus 6 plus 3, you got it. It is 10. I'm going to drop this 0 down here, but just so that we can understand it, that 1 is in the 100,000s place. Why? We won't necessarily bring it over here, but that's literally what we're doing. We're realizing that when we add this together, we have 100,000. We drop the value of the 0, or the value that's in the 10,000s place, which is a 0, and then the 1 in the 100,000s place. So let's go ahead and bring all of our numbers together. We have a comma that we put there, because after every period we put a comma, and then our number will be 102,350. Now let's look at it and compare it to this number over here. If we look at our estimate here, which is 100,000, and we look at our actual number here, which is 102,350, that estimate seems to be right. Why is it right? Well, let's take a look. As I look next to my 1, it is a 0. And anything between 0 and 4, you got it. It means that this number stays the same. And everything behind it becomes a 0, just like we see here. Let's do one more number. But I'm not going to do it with you. You're going to do it on your own. The number that I'm giving you today is, or the numbers that I'm giving you today to add together are, and look way up here. Can you zoom in, Kayla, please? The numbers are 52,870, or 851, sorry. And you also have the number of 65,601. I am taking those two numbers and I'm going to add the actual numbers. But before I do that, I am going to find my estimate. So I'm going to estimate first, and then I'm going to find my actual number. So what you're going to do is make this place value chart on any paper that you have at home. Line it all up. Line your numbers up just like I did. Then make sure you don't forget to estimate. Once you do that, then add the actual numbers together. And when you are done, see what you have for your actual number and your estimated number. I'll ask you tomorrow, so be prepared. If you need to look at the video again, please feel free to do so. Goodbye and have a good evening.